Hi, this is Larry Gregory, CEO of Competigy. This is the second part of a two-part series walking through the Partner Strategy Framework. Again, this framework is designed for software companies, whether they be web, cloud, or on-premise, that are looking to develop their partner channels and specifically develop development-type partners, SIs and ISVs, that can leverage them as a platform and build upon that and extend as complementary solutions. So let's continue the discussion with breadth partners. Breadth programs can serve both alliance partners and unmanaged partners if properly designed. Key elements of a breadth partner program include the broad outreach in the form of newsletters and communications, the online resources where partners can educate themselves on your product and the partnership value, incentives to align partner readiness with your release time frame and marketing campaigns, and self-service materials to help them with their own sales capability. From a reach perspective, breadth partners are mostly reached through self-service programs and reactive type of mechanisms. So you want to nurture partners by raising awareness of the partnership potential, increasing their access to product and partnership information, and reducing the friction of doing business with you as a partner. Let's talk about the enable stage. So the call to action out of the reach efforts is to get educated on the product and program offerings. If you're a platform player, err on the side of being open and minimize the friction between your audience and your partner program. For example, don't hide training content behind partner program websites that require special IDs. Even though they may have these IDs, it just poses friction for them to be able to get to it. So I would encourage making as broad as possible for people to access SDKs and product documentation from an integration perspective. From an activate perspective for breadth programs, you want to get them to commit to development after learning about the product. So this recruiting effort is converting them from just learning to delivering in-market solutions. And this entails setting up an early adoption tracking system to nurture those products along the development to marketing launch path. So if you provide marketing and support in exchange for product profile data, then you can prompt them to reach certain milestones and to take action to align with marketing opportunities. Another benefit to an early adoption system is aligning the marketing messages and timing. As you approach release, you'll want to demonstrate momentum to press and customers and other partners that you've got coverage across a broad base of industries and segments, and by meeting out that communication and sharing that at the right point, you'll have partners amplifying your own message through their own communications. And then on the sell side, after you've reached and educated and activated breadth partners, it's time to accelerate and amplify their go-to-market activity by promoting their solutions. So catalogs, from a breadth perspective, catalogs and directories can be helpful for connecting partners and potential customers, particularly if you're the center of gravity for an industry segment, whether it be maybe a supply chains industry or maybe as a platform if you're a cloud provider. But if you don't have that critical mass as a platform provider, consider whether you should take a particular specific industry leader sector. Otherwise, maybe it's just a part of your website that you segment in a particular way to help customers easily connect to the right partners. And think about the affinity programs and networks where partners can badge themselves and carry the kind of the brand, that your logo brand, along with their own selling activities. So as you inventory all the solutions that came out of the adoption tracking system, segment and prioritize them such that you have a few top references per sector, and that you can include that in your targeted PR and marketing campaigns and field sales engagement. And there's always a balancing act between the larger, more impactful ISV partners and SI partners, and those that will move more nimbly and maybe have the more cool factor in terms of being more innovative. So you have to strike that balance of large versus better for PR and marketing awareness perspective. Let's talk about the developer ecosystem. And when I say developer, you can also think in terms of IT pro here, IT professionals. So if you've got a product that's lends itself more to integration and less about development, you can easily map this over as well. But developers influence the technical architecture and senior leadership within the customers and partners with their opinions and preferences for technologies. And they enable faster prototyping and testing if they like your technology, and conversely can pose friction if they prefer other solutions. So the reach stage is really about connecting to those developers, and you have to do that by investing the appropriate amount of time and energy up front to be perceived as part of their community. They're particularly sensitive to people and vendors coming in and just kind of talking to them and pitching to them. So if you're large enough, invest in the presence to have a peer presence with the developer community. That might be online. It could be in the local, larger markets to have a local presence. Once you've established a dialogue, you want to enable them. So here you're really looking to enlist those partners or the developers the support as contributors and possibly even as fans. So you can judge the success of developer marketing by how many developers are partaking of online and in-person training and the quality of their experience, perhaps by measuring their satisfaction with those materials. But the key thing is to establish a consistent measure so that you know, are you improving your reach and quality, or if you change your measurements on a yearly basis or every period, it's tougher to know, are you actually moving the needle. So let's talk about activating. So once developers have hands-on experience with your product, we want to amplify their favorable voice and help them share what they're doing and get others excited about your capabilities. The shift towards open source and cloud computing has lowered the bar for experimentation among developers, and so the platforms and development tools are very accessible, and so it's a lot less than it has traditionally been for enterprise software. So attract developer interest by appealing to their desire to showcase their skills that are current and individual expression, and really tap into that emotional interest in demonstrating leadership and cool new capabilities, and that tends to be what activates developers more so than spiff or particular financial blatant financial incentives. On the sell side, so let me pick up there. The amplify, what we're looking to do here is help developers showcase the solutions that demonstrate individual productivity and creativity. So give them a context, or provide that context where innovative developers from the community can represent their work. And in some ways, for an advanced approach, would be create a club type of context where the most committed developers actively evangelize on behalf of the company. And you can create community champs, MVPs, they're called different things in different vendors, but you can create experts that represent the company and have a certain alliance with the company to qualify for that. So let's switch gears to talk about vendor management. What I'm really talking about is platform vendors. As a software company, you depend on other software companies for platform elements of your own solution, such as the database, operating system, middleware, cloud, infrastructure, etc. And your objective is to get the most out of the relationship with those software providers. They need to be handled differently than other partner relationships, since their influence is pretty broad, and they typically have deeper pockets than perhaps you do, since they're upstream in the software ecosystem. So from a reach perspective, you want to communicate in context of the relationship. Learn the organization and what the role dynamics are in terms of who cares about what. Try to get your hands on their scorecards so you know how they're measured. You can easily waste a lot of time if you don't narrow your efforts down for those larger partners. And when you first engage one of these vendors, you'll need to research their partner tiers and programmatic offerings, because sometimes that's a more efficient way to go about accomplishing something. Sometimes in fact, oftentimes the managed partner tier is not represented in their partner programs, so there are some unwritten benefits and tiering that you'll want to inquire about that you won't be able to get directly off of, say, their website. And be sure to renew your efforts to learn the partners' systems and people and priorities and everything every year, probably T-3 months before their fiscal year, because they're going to change and they're going to have a shipment of personnel will move around, and so you want to make sure you're aligning and putting your hand into the new initiatives at the right time to take the most out of that. So from an enable perspective, what we're looking to do is particularly if you can affect some leverage on your upstream platform partners, this can be helpful to drive the planning process with them. But typically, if you're a managed partner by a platform vendor, they will initiate the planning process. So you want to be respectful during that process, state the things that you're looking to achieve out of the joint planning process, and use that joint plan as a tool to guide the relationship. And if your platform partner doesn't meet a certain objective that you've both defined, realize that you can go back and seek concessions on other areas. Maybe their product slips. Maybe that means that you should be getting more access to partner funds. Also revisit that on a quarterly basis, because sometimes if they're not used, they won't necessarily be cycled back to the field. They'll get captured in the corporate system. So there may be some opportunity for some incremental benefits along as the year progresses. Next, you'll want to synchronize your product development and marketing efforts to align with the vendor's rhythm of business. Example incentives might be joint development funds if you represent a first mover for a target industry, or joint marketing funds, particularly right after the fiscal year rolls over. You want to make sure you're represented before those get fully allocated. And then also the breadth program benefits, which you'll want to watch to see if there's worthwhile opportunities there. Platform vendors may have different marketing teams that you'll want to explore. There's product group specific marketing, there may be industry specific marketing, or audience marketing that targets developers or consumers or enterprise. So just realize there may be more than one marketing group to engage as part of that opportunity. And since you've already learned about the partner organization in the reach stage, you'll know who to ask to understand the target stories and product themes that vendor wants to convey. Lastly, you'll want to align with the go-to-market messaging and channels of that platform vendor in order to maximize your customer engagements. Vendors take a few approaches to partner selling: partner-led, sell with, pure partner selling, as I referred to before. But what I'd emphasize here is align with the field sales teams. Managed partner status is oftentimes not explicitly represented in partner programs, but it's a prerequisite to getting the kind of placement that I'm talking about. So that might be getting preferred go-to-market positioning for industry-specific solution maps. It might be battle cards and preferred status in directories and internal reference guides. Ask about what are those type of things that the field sales teams refers to when they're going to engage and they come across an opportunity in your segment. That's a summary of the partner strategy framework. Many companies don't naturally think in terms of platform, but becoming a platform on which other companies build provides some great advantage in that partners will pull through your technology. When they've taken on that platform dependency, they'll reduce your sales effort because they're engaged in their own sales efforts, and it provides stickiness or loyalty in the face of competitors. So I would encourage you to check out the ebook that I've published, which goes into detail about the partner strategy framework. And I would welcome your feedback and questions at larry.gregory@competigy.com.